Hello, this is John Curtis and you're listening to the Beat Football Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 72 show. I'm your host Nick Davie. Joining me this week we have Matty Roper.
Good evening, Nick.
We have a 72 show debutant in Shane Lees.
Hello!
And we are delighted to be joined by former Burnley and Stoke striker Andy Cooke.
Good evening.
Hi Andy. Obviously Andy, we've had you on before, mate. How have you been since then?
Not too bad. Been getting on with a few bits. Obviously a bit of work, so nothing major, and that's about it really.
Anything in the football side of things? Anything new happened?
Yeah, well, I've been coaching at sort of youth development at Shrewsbury School, so I run quite a bit of football there, which is an independent school over in Shrewsbury. I'm just get myself sorted, get back into coaching, and which has been quite difficult at times, but I seem to be progressing all right at the moment. I'm also doing some academy work at Shrewsbury Town, which is something I was very keen to push myself into, and fortunately got in, and just to some courses and stuff that I'm on now, it helps me massively at the moment.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. And let's say you can catch our last interview we've had with Andy on SoundCloud and on iTunes anytime you wish. But this will bring us on nicely then to the Championship promotion race with home clubs. Obviously, my own club, Brighton, very much in the mix. But Andy, how do you see the Championship promotion race going? Obviously, we've got your old club, Burnley, right in there, Middlesbrough and Brighton. How do you sort of see it going? Who do you think will be the two to go up?
It is really tight. I mean, I think for the last two nights, Burnley fans must be reeling really to see Forest come back in literally in the last kick of the game the other night, and I think Middlesbrough did a similar thing where it's so tight up there and it could be anyone. Obviously I'm rooting for Burnley, and a lot of my friends that are still up there who were involved in the club and stuff. There's a lot of hype around there, but I think at the moment, I think a lot of Burnley fans are just sitting nervously, just hoping for the best. I mean, it's in their hands, but it's still a massive ask between now and the end of the season. There's a lot of football still to play, and there's a lot of teams coming into form. As we said, Middlesbrough and Brighton, they all seem to be coming into form at the right part of the season. So really, as much I hope it's Burnley, I think it really is down to who holds the nerve and the best football at the end of the day.
So I'm a big Brighton fan, and we had a very ugly 2-1 win, but it sort of seems to be like that for all of the clubs over the weekend. So we didn't play very well on Monday night at all. I watched the game on Sky Sports. So in the first half we played pretty well, 1-0, but it seemed to me at half time we went in there thinking that the job was done. Forest went and obviously got a goal back, and then thankfully the ginger Perlo, Steve Sidwell, managed to pop up right at the end and get the win for us. So
I think it's a case as well. Burnley. Sean Dyche's interview after the game the other day. He emphasised just that it's not a great performance. They can always play better, and I'm sure it's the same for Brighton. Where is it really about performances now? Yeah, you want to play well and win games, but sometimes it's just about you've got to grind against it. No game's going to be easy. No team's just going to lie down and let you win. And if you can play sort of badly and grind out results, that's what it's about at the end of the season. I think Sean was very pleased with his team, how they held their result in that game, and didn't particularly perform brilliantly, but still got the result, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, and I think watching the Burnley Leeds game, it was a proper grind out. I think Chris Wood for Leeds sort of been the story of his season really. Had a couple of free headers and obviously spunk them both wide. I think Middlesbrough as well, home to Preston 1-0, and then last night obviously right at the death beat Reading 2-1. So obviously it's very tight there. Shane and Matty, how do you guys see the promotion picture looking?
Well, I'm personally quite hoping that Brighton go off and do well towards the end of the campaign, just like you are. But for me, the ideal situation would be Brighton and Burnley go up, because they're two clubs I like, and I like the idea with Burnley that a club isn't going to be damned if they go down, and I think they've been going about their football and their philosophy right the whole time. But at the same time, Middlesbrough probably have enough impetus now to at least get that second spot nailed down. They've got a 2-point gap. I think it's 4 points on Brighton. They'd have to mess up pretty badly to be out of that top three. out of that top 2, sorry. So I'd be very surprised if Middlesbrough gave up. I think it's still completely open for their second spot. I think it can go down to either of them. Personally, I'd like to see Brighton do it because I want to see 3 South Coast clubs in the Premier League. But I think maybe Burnley probably are going to have enough to hold on.
Yeah, in terms of the Championship again, it's very tight as always, isn't it? We've been umming and ahhing over the past few weeks who's going to go up, and it's difficult to call. I think when you look at Middlesbrough, they're a very organised side. As we've said before, they don't ship many goals at the wrong end, and that puts them in good stead. But like we've said as well about Burnley, they've got probably one of the best player in the Championship, in my opinion, Andre Gray. And I do think those two will get the top 2, unfortunately for you, Nick. But no, I think, and then when you go down into the playoffs, it's so difficult to call from there, isn't it? Because that's just a lottery, really. But no, in terms of the top 2, I think Middlesbrough and Burnley probably have a bit more quality than the teams below them.
Yeah, with the playoffs, so that's moving on to the playoffs. I think it's all sort of decided now, but it's just a case of who sort of finishes where. And I think it's going to be either one of the Brighton, Burnley and Middlesbrough finishing third. Then I think you've got your Hull and Derby's are guaranteed, and you've probably got Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, they're 5 points clear of Cardiff now with 5 games to go, so you could argue there's a chance, but I just think the sides there are just too strong. Would you guys agree with that?
The sides at the top or in the...
Oh, sorry, yeah, the sides in the. Do you think the playoff spots are going to sort of stay how they are with Brighton, Hull, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
I can't see Cardiff. I can't see Cardiff closing down that gap. Sheffield Wednesday are a good side. They're a solid side, and I can't see them shipping 5 points in 5 games, or at least I can't see Cardiff gaining that on them either. So I'd say it's pretty well confirmed who the top 6 are, but it's in what order the top 6 end up in.
I think it's just whoever carries. There's a lot of momentum. If whoever carries that momentum into the playoffs, generally it's the whole cliche of whoever finishes third generally struggles in playoffs, or in my experience, or seeing it for over the years. It's very rare that the third place just goes on to take that playoff position. It is a bit of a lottery, but somewhat, a team that always carries momentum into that final. The final few games and build, Cardiff are gaining a bit of momentum. Whether they make it or not it's another thing, but it's just whoever finishes the strongest always seems to take momentum into the playoffs at the right time, and that genuinely sees it through. But there's no guarantees, and it is a big lottery, and so much at stake as well.
That's the thing, isn't it, in regards to momentum? Like Cardiff, fair enough, they are 5 points out with a minute, but they could get in there by all means, and they are a good side. And like we say, I think probably the other 4 that are in there now, Brighton, Hull, Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, I think they probably will be the 4 that are in the playoffs. But it's so difficult to call again the winners. If I had to pick a team, I'd probably go Sheffield Wednesday. I think they're a big game team, and I could see them winning it, to be honest with you. I don't know about Derby. I think they have the tendency to bottle it, don't they? So, but they'll be hoping it's their season. So it's difficult.
I tell you what, though, I will say one thing. It will be a great thing for the Premier League, and I know we don't really care too much about the Premier League here, but it will be a great thing if you get sides like Sheffield Wednesday, Middlesbrough back in the Premier League. They're massive clubs. Massive clubs. When people say, like, sort of the Sheffield clubs aren't big clubs, I think, what are you talking about? Those are massive clubs. You got the North East is going to hell in the Premier League, so getting someone like Middlesbrough back up there will be a really good thing. Any of those 6 clubs going up, I'll be happy to see in the Premier League, because they're all clubs you'd kind of want to see. Brighton are a growing club. You have clubs with a history like Sheffield Wednesday or Derby. Hull and Burnley, they can kind of show that if you go down, it isn't necessarily a bad thing, that you can rebuild on it and keep doing things in the right sort of way. So it's sort of, for me, as a sort of neutral supporter for the Football League, it's actually been a brilliant season for that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think, as we would all agree, that the Championship certainly lived up to its name of one of the most entertaining leagues in the world.